Hey, what's up, guys and gals? How are y'all? I'm just getting home from a good day of work, and I had so much fun and interacting with my audience with my live the other day that I think I'm going to do another live right here, right now. And so let's try another live. That's two in 1 week. Woohoo! I'm setting a record. Here we go. I played a game against my good friend Jonathan Current, who is in our chess club on the Leech's chess site. And he has been playing pretty steady now for the last few years while I've kind of had a layoff due to life circumstances, and I'm jumping back on this. So we played a game the other day, and he walloped me. I'm impressed with his progress, and this is encouraging to me because it shows me, in a few years, I can get that good, right? So here we go. Hard labor in the chess. Hey, welcome, Matthew Smith. How you doing? I'm doing yet another live. I did a live the other day, and I'm trying another live. This is two in 1 week. Woohoo! Hey, Chris Gordon. Oh, absolutely. You're welcome. I've got this game with fellow chess club gamer, Jonathan Current. Let's go. He's playing the white. I'm playing the black pieces. He goes d4, and I go g6 and resign. No, you don't resign after the first move. You resign after the second move. And he goes e4. So he has taken up a very strong center. I'm going to fianchetto my bishop. I'm going to try to control this baby from the distance. We'll see if I can accomplish this. Knight f3 and d6. So the theme behind this, of course, is when I pull my knight out, I'll show you. Knight c3. And now I'm going to do my knight f6. The idea with the d6 bump is to prevent that and forcing the knight to move, right? That's the main idea behind this version of the King's Indian. So bishop d3. Jonathan does a good developing move. His powerful center. This is going to be fun to try to tackle. This is what I'm talking about. You want to control the center. I want to fight you for it. So I go ahead and get castled quick. This is the idea. Tuck the king away because he's coming at me, and he really is. Bishop e3 now, too. Now, in order to defeat the Kasparov King's Indian layout, the way he played the black, I'm trying to think of who it was. It was against, I did a video on it just the other day. Korchnoi. It was against Korchnoi. Korchnoi made a mistake of after he castled, he moved his knight down to e1. Had he put his knight on d2, then and only then, with the bishop on e3 and the knight goes to d2, from that point, white can get a really good queenside attack going and truly win the game. That's in that Kasparov-Korchnoi. Korchnoi made the error of putting it on knight 1, and that's one reason why Kasparov beat him out. So bishop e3, I'm thinking, man, if he puts that knight on d2, this will be extremely interesting. And now I'm going to bring my knight to c6, and the moment I did that, I realized, oh, carry. No, I really did want to go here. You know, this is the fun and glory of chess, right? Learning how to play and lose and win, right? Hey, it looks like a few more people coming in. Hey, Brian J., good evening to you, sir. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can read my notes. So, and now he bumps up. This is a game between me and a fellow club member, Jonathan Current, for all of those who are just getting here. Thank you for showing up. And now I hit the e5, and the computer didn't like this at all. It was really interesting. The computer did not like this, and yet this is the central move for this particular black opening based on You know, you've got all these popularizer video people going on, ranting and raving about the King's Indian is black, etc. And what the computer wanted me to do. And one of these next games, I do think I'm going to try this just for kicks and giggles to see. The computer wants me to already bump up to G4 with the knight. Isn't that interesting? And I'm going, wow. Okay. I think the point is to exchange the bishop. And I don't know if I was playing white, you know, if someone pulled that caper on me, I think I'd bump my bishop back. I don't think I'd just let the exchange happen. So I'm not quite sure what that would accomplish. Maybe I'm showing off my great fund of ignorance, which is typical. Hey, Eddie Guerrera, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. So anyway, that was what the computer recommended. Very interesting because I'm hardly ever developed, and I'm already moving pieces to attack. But this shows you that computers are not humans, and computers don't think like humans. I went ahead and bumped E5. Let's hit the center. Let's play in the center for sure. And yes, this is one of the variations. It's a good variation. It's really nice. One of the points of pushing the E5 right after you bump the knight out is in order to be able to bop the knight back here on E7. Later on in the game, as the theory runs, this knight here on E7 is going to support an F5 push. It's covering this square so that you can bump this knight should come here, and then you bump F7. That's one of the many variations in this. And now bishop G5. Here he comes. He's going to take a look at my knight, and I do go knight to D7. So what this does is it pins my knight to my queen, and I'm well aware of that. Hey, Ron Belanger, greetings. How are you? Welcome to my live session tonight. I thought I'd do an impromptu live. I had so much fun on my last live, I thought I'd try another one just for kicks and giggles. So, and as I went knight D7, the bishop took the E7 knight. So Jonathan took the knight, drats him, and the queen retakes the bishop. So this is where it stands at this point. And now knight D2. He's going to rearrange where he's placing his knights. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and bump the F5 up. And I don't have the knight support. I have the rook support, but not the knight support. And he's going to come to F3, giving himself a good solid pawn chain, potentially open up a file here pretty quick. So he went F3, and I went ahead and took the E4. And I don't think the computer liked that one either. If I remember right, it said bump C6. I can't remember exactly what the computer said. Anyway, I took, and then the bishop retook here. Instead of breaking up the pawn chain and opening up the F file for me, because he would oppose me, and of course I would take it, right? So this is kind of heads up play in some respects of Jonathan, because he leaves it partially closed and solid as granite against me using my rook. So it's going to be a tough game. I bump back up to knight F6, hitting the bishop. Queen comes to E2. He is developing. Notice he hasn't castled yet, but you know, they say when your opponent hasn't castled in the first 10 moves or so, and we're on move 14, they say attack like crazy. I don't have anything to attack with or for right now anyway. Looks like a few more folks coming in. Hey, Andrew Mack, good to see you, my friend. Eddie Guerrera. Yeah, I agree, Eddie. Yeah, sometimes the computer engine lines, I mean, it thinks like a computer. It's seeing 5 and 6 and 7 moves ahead. Very few of us do that. So, you know, we're playing human chess here now. Now, my favorite grandmaster, Igor Smirnov, says do both. Play the computer. There's nothing wrong with practicing with the computer, but also play with humans as well. And so I'm doing that, trying to build myself back up. So Queen E2, and I went Bishop F5, coming out to the bishop, and he took 5 with the bishop. So we got rid of the light square bishops. And unfortunately for me, look at my king side. I have light square weaknesses. Uh-oh, that might not be good, right? In fact, it's not good. Now, Jonathan, you sneaky devil, you. He castles queenside. So this is going to be a fight. And notice where all my pieces are. I haven't got a chance here. All of mine are over here on the king side. All of his are over on the queen side. So this will be fun to see what happens. I come to bishop h6, pinning the knight to the king. And he brings rook h2 g1, which was a beautiful spot for the rook straight across from guess who? The king. You know, I've got to quit saying stuff like that in my videos because you guys keep doing it in the games against me and wiping me out. Fun stuff. Yeah. Rooks across from kings. And in this game, we'll see that. Without question, you'll see the value of that. It's wonderful how he does that. So I went a6, and it didn't like this move either. I think it said do c6. Get rid of that pawn. I do believe it said that. I can't remember exactly. I didn't take a lot of time analyzing the computer because I was putting this together so that I could present it. I asked Jonathan if it was okay, and he said it would honor him greatly. It's actually my honor to be able to share his excellent game that he played. G8. Jonathan is rated in the 1800s now. He dang sure wasn't 3 or 4 years ago when I was active in the club before cancer hitting my family and COVID and all that jazz. And now I'm back to square one, and he has excelled onward. So I'm going to use him to help me excel myself. So G4 bump, here we go. And proper. I mean, seriously, if you're going to put your rook on the G file, then throw the pawn up there because that's where my king's at. And I saw that and I go, oh my, okay, here we go. Here we go. I got to do something here. So I chickened out and came back. Don't ask me why. No idea. G takes F5. And what I'm doing is trying to avoid opening the file. And he opened the file anyway. So this is how it works. He great lesson on how to open the file. The way to open the file is throw your pawns up there until they contact something and take it. Yeah. Because a rook on a file is no good if it's not open. So, I mean, you know, that's typical check. And I'm on H1, and I shouldn't have done it. I should have went the other way. We'll see. We'll see. And now Jonathan. And this is typical when you castle on the queen side. A move the king to B1 usually does happen. That's good chess there. I came to bishop F4, and here, and I agree, I did the move out of sequence. The rook should have took the pawn, of course. I'm trying to activate my bishop a little bit better and give it a little more power from a more central position on an outpost going this direction, potentially targeting the rook, although the queen does have that row, and so it's not necessarily an attack. It's more of a threat. Not much of a threat. You know, now that I play through the game and look at it, not much of a threat. But such is that it is. And he bumps his rook up. Yeah, yep. And now I took the pawn. So the 5 pawn is gone, and now he does bump h3. And rook a to f8. I'm trying to activate both of my rooks, putting them together on a file so that I can do an attack on the wrong side of the board. Don't ask. I don't know. I should have been over here somehow, some way. I should have been over here throwing pawns out. Is what I should have been doing, right? That's how that works. Hey, Andrew Mack, welcome. So I went to rook a, f8, and now knight at the D. Nice central location. That's a great spot for a knight. Very good. And then I came c6, and the computer is saying bishop h6 was best here, so I made a error, not a blunder. My blunder comes up. I blundered a move. He didn't. Jonathan didn't. And I suspect that's why he won this game, other than outplaying me totally, which is really cool to see. And now D takes the c6. He's going to eliminate my queenside pawns. B takes c6. Now, what I began to notice here, I began to get really uncomfortable because I recognized, I did not get all of my pieces coordinated at all. And Jonathan did very well coordinating his pieces. And technically, I wasn't cramped, right? I just couldn't put them together to work together in a coordinated manner. Jonathan, on the other hand, is just singing. He is doing so good. He's got targets everywhere. He's putting the rooks with the knights and the queen together. Really, really good moves. So I came back over here to try to say, oh my gosh, I've got to do something quick. I'm trying to think of what I saw that was so, well, this right here, coming over into that, I wanted to start pushing my pawn, trying to get some pressure on the king side. I'm too little too late is what I am. And now the queen takes the a6. Yeah. So my entire queen side's obliterated. I honestly don't think at this point I thought I had a chance. I didn't. Here's the problem. Look at this. He's got the file. He's got the square that I could challenge him with the file. I needed to bump back down and come and take that file away from him, and I didn't. And now he's coming over here and over here. So, I'm in trouble. This is close to toast, baby. I came queen d8. He came back to queen c4, getting that fantastic diagonal. Again, my light squares around the king weakness. And now he's got that rook on that file. I'm in deep trouble. Yeah, we're talking close to checkmate already. I've got my back rank covered well, but that's the way he takes that away from me is really superb. I came back. Notice I'm the one in retreat. Yeah, his coordination is so much greater than mine that this was a beautifully played game, I thought. Knight e2, he will bump to knight e2, hitting my bishop. I came to rook b8 directly across from his king, which I should have been here. We're on move 28. I should have been here 14 moves ago. I'm too little too late. Queen c3. Coming down, just checking the b pawn. You got it right. Queen b6. I'm going to try to put pressure on him. Here's the problem. See, here's the issue that clobbered me. One of them. I am trying to put pressure, but just him being able to bump back the queen keeps up the pressure against my king. My pawn is pinned. So, I'm protecting him with my bishop and my knight because his rooks are hovering around here. The knight can come over here and start rearranging themselves to attack me. I'm nervous about this because I can't move. All he has to do is put me in check and it's over. If I can't take the piece or block. Yeah, so that's what I was seeing, and I was very uncomfortable at this point. I said, uh-oh, this game is history if I'm not real careful, and then I may not extract myself out of this anyway, because all he has to do is change off the bishop. If he takes the bishop's free. I can't retake because I'm pinned with that pawn. So he's got a superb position on me. Queen b6. So, and sure enough, rook will take d7. I left my knight hanging. Now, this is such a typical blunder. This is what I have to iron out of my games. I am determined I'm going to do that this year. No more blunders, Carrie. So, yeah, to blunder a piece like that's just ludicrous. I blew it on that one. So, rook g8, I now have to exchange the rooks. And actually, if I remember right, the computer did not like that one either, interestingly enough. Rook g8, and now knight takes the f4. Here we go. Yeah, see? It's like I'm saying, all he has to do is take that bishop because it's not technically protected because of the pin. And rook takes the rook. That's about all I've got left to do for a threat. And notice he really doesn't, I mean, he's playing good. He doesn't worry about even retaking the rook. Isn't that amazing? Who cares? Because he's got this. Check. And now you can see it. You go, oh, man. So I come over here, king g8, hoping to escape, but notice the surrounding of my king with his pieces. And who's controlling the center? I noticed that too, and I said, wow, you know, that just got away from me. How did that happen? I have to analyze that. So let this be a lesson. Look who's controlling the center, and from the center, he gets the king. Very nice. Excellent way to illustrate this. And knight f6 check. Yeah. This game is toast. King f8 and queen down. Checkmate. Beautiful game by Jonathan Current. Congratulations, my dear friend. That's a great game. I'm happy to show it. As a bonus, let me do this tonight too. I've got a cool little book here that shows various types of cool puzzle type tricks to do in certain openings, traps and tactics and things like that. Let me reset this board up real quick and I'll show you this tactic. And or I say tactic, I think it's more of a trap, a trap in the queen pawn opening. But it's just so well done. And it's actually so easy that if you're not paying attention, if you make the one wrong move, and I'll show you what it is, pow, kablam, you're losing a piece just really quick. And you know the rule in a general sense of what you do when you lose a piece or when you gain a piece. Well, there's a rule for you if you lose a piece too. If you end up being a piece down, you don't exchange. Don't even begin to think of exchanging pieces. You can't afford to. If you're a piece up, exchange pieces like crazy and take it into an end game, right? So that's the general strategy. So this is kind of a fun way to show you how to get a piece really quick and simple with the queen pawn opening. And let me see if I can play this correctly. Okay, so let's go to pawn, queen 4. Okay, queen pawn opening. Is it amazing that you push the pawn and they call it the queen pawn opening? There's got to be a reason. All right, stop it. Just stop it. And knight, king, bishop 3. Oh, and this is old nomenclature. Sorry, this is an older book. This is Irving Chernev's book, Chess Traps. Knight, king, bishop 3. And now knight, king, bishop 3. Or f3. 3 today. Yeah, let's keep it on the lowdown. And now you directly go to the pawn. And he says, well, if you're going to do that, then that gives me a chance to put bishop, bishop 4, and there's a London bishop. Kind of interesting. So this is a trap that you can do with the London. And you take the pawn, and now the mistake they'll make is taking it with the knight. Yeah, no, wrong, because you've got pawn, king, 4. And you go, yeah, but that doesn't work. That's not it, because he can just take it, right? Right. Bishop takes the pawn. What you're doing is you're sacrificing a pawn to lure the bishop forward on a fatal square. And that's why it's such a cool little trap, because you don't suspect that's what's happening. You say, well, that's not a valid fork because you don't have anything backing up the pawn, so I'm not afraid to take the pawn. So he takes the pawn, and you've got check. And there you go. Kind of a cool little trap, because he'll block the trap, and then you can come all the way over and kablam, you're a piece up. So it's little things like that that so many of us will fall for. Part of my training that I'm trying to get my mind to get used to is looking laterally or horizontally as well as vertically with the pieces, especially the rooks and the queen, because that particular movement, we're used to the diagonals with the queen, check, and we're used to the straight up and down. But when it does a diagonal move, for whatever reason, for me, it's difficult to look across as well. That's why you want to slow down, take your time, and look in all directions with every piece, if you can, if it's possible. Dominic, long time no see. How you doing? iTumblers, great game. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Good to see you. Let's do another little trap, shall we? I'm going to write videoed on this. That way I don't repeat it. This book is full of those fun, cool little traps that I'll share with you. And some of them are really, I'm with you. Some of them, there's very few people who would ever make the moves they make. And yet grandmasters also succumb to these kind of traps. And so do the international masters. So, it's fun to kind of sharpen our minds, keep our eyes peeled, etc. So let's do another one. The one on the very next page. This is kind of interesting too. And again, it's the queen pawn opening. So we're looking at the queen pawn opening tonight for traps. Pawn, queen 4, knight to king, bishop 3. Now we have knight to queen 2, and you will see this sometimes. And then pawn to king 4, again putting the tension immediately in the center on that queen pawn. And the pawn will take the pawn, and now it's attacking the knight. And so the knight comes up here to g4. Yeah. If you do the pawn to king rook 3 to chase the knight away, you go to knight king 6. Don't take the pawn. Here's the catch. You go to knight king 6 and you win the queen. Isn't that crazy? If you take, then yeah, the king will take you so that you can't castle. But from this point, you win the queen, because if you take that knight with the pawn, there's your checkmate. Kind of cool, isn't it? So that's a way to get a queen and a quick checkmate real easy if you're not careful. You always want to watch this, the F-file side on both colors, on both the white and the black. For the white, it's F2. For the black, it's F7. That's the weak square in the original lineup, right? So that's the one that always is vulnerable to some kind of a tactic somewhere, somehow. So you guys want another one? Let's do another one, shall we? These are all kind of fun and interesting. Kind of helps just keep our minds active and working toward making sure that if we follow chess principles, we're a little bit safer than if we don't. I mean, I'm not advising you to always play for opening traps. On the other hand, if you're aware of them, keep it coming, he says. Keep it up. Okay. How about another queen pawn opening? Because this is, quite frankly, a very popular opening. Okay, let's do another one. Pawn queen 4. I should say D4, sorry. D4. Even if it is. Look, I'm not kidding. It's the old nomenclature. It's not my fault. That's what I get for buying and hanging on to old chess books, huh? Yeah, baby. So, look at this. Right out of the gate, man. Go ahead and attack the pawn with pawn. And you're going, really? But it happens. It can happen, right? These are all based on actual games that these happened in. He says in the introduction, he's not just making stuff up to make a trap. These happen. Kind of, some probably a lot more often than others, you know. So that's the way it goes. And so, look, if you're going to attack the pawn, I'm taking you. Bye, see ya, kiddo. Hasta la vista, baby. I'm going to take you and I'm going to drink to my success. A pawn up. Okay, so now instantly, see, here's that same move, right? The queen diagonal out to rook 4 and check. And it's not a fatal move yet, but let's see what happens. Knight bishop 3, and this is really the standard way to blockade, right? You can go to the bishop, to the D2 with the bishop if you care to. I mean, you could even, if you wanted to get real adventurous, if you wanted to play without the queens, you could bump queen to D2, right? But no, I personally wouldn't. I like getting mileage out of my queen if I could. And so, of course, the queen will take the bishop pawn. Now, he's trying to show some fancy footwork, right? He's come out here, check, and now he zings over there and nabs the pawn that he initiated this fight with, right? So how do you handle this? Again, central development. No joke. It's really cool how this works. Pawn king 4. And now if he responds in like manner, pawn to king 4, what do? Notice, in order to set up the trap, it's development that gets it done. Isn't that cool? You bring out the other knight, right? And we'll see why. But that's the theme, even though queen early out is always asking for trouble, especially with the better chess players, right? I mean, you got to be really careful. You've got to know what to do. And if you're gonna bring her out to do a check and then get fancy with your feet and start zinging around all over the place, get ready, because her value is so high. Of course, it's going to get chased around. In the process, the downside of all of this for black is that white gets very, very far ahead in his development, and black is kissing it goodbye in the long run. And I'll show you what I mean. Knight, queen 5. Good outpost. But notice it blocks the queen's horizontal movement. That might be important. It is what it's doing is it's narrowing where the queen can move and where she can land. And it's such a simple move, you wouldn't, Well, that's nothing. Okay, look, I can challenge that knight then. So he's thinking, okay, well, I'm up to the task. I will challenge the knight with the development of my own. And now you hit the queen. Cool. And you go, but it's not that big a deal. And you go, but it is. And you're saying, yeah, but who realistic? This is kind of why if you're interested to memorize a few things like this, aren't you just giving the bishop to her? Seriously? Why would you throw away your bishop? Because now you've got the triple fork with the knight. Did you notice that? See, that's the fun thing about knights. They're so tricky, and they are so hard to see. I fall for stuff like this, man, way too often. I'll put it that way. So the idea, the really cool thing to notice is, and especially if you're on the receiving end, if you unfortunately have been one of those who are now getting chased around a lot because your queen's out early, right? And if they really do a fundamentally ridiculous move like that, oh, come on, that's a ridiculous attack move. You've got to have alarm bells going off in your mind saying, all right, wait, just hold it. Nobody does that without a reason. That is so blatantly obvious. And that could be a really important clue. So, what would you do? What should you do in this instance? Sincerely. How did that pawn get there? Oh, sorry. Grab the pawn instead of the bishop. So, if he does something like that, so blatant, seriously, what should you do? Just get out of the flipping way. Yeah. I mean, right. For real. Is there anything else he could do to bug you? He could come to here getting ready for another discovery in a few more moves, perhaps getting ready to bump that pawn again. But see, that's the downside of putting the queen out early. So that's kind of a cool little illustration of that. Okay. A lot of life lessons in chess. Love a video on that. Yeah, there actually are. I will keep that in mind and give you a few of mine as I get through them, because I'm having a life lesson right now, and it's called patience, right? Uh, and I don't have very much of it. My wife kind of gets fed up with me ranting and raving after I get slaughtered by the chess computer 5 or 6 times in a row on such a low level, level 4. Then I bump down to level 3 and it beats me 2 more times just to spite me. And, it's aggravating, but it's a process. Look, that's about as optimistic as you can get, except for the fact that I'm attempting in my situation to just convince myself, tell myself, okay, at this point in my chess development, every game is a lesson and they're free. You play the computer, that's a lesson. That's a chess lesson. Win or lose doesn't matter. What did you learn? How you begin to see familiar patterns, types of movements, ways to coordinate pieces over and over and over again. And you can begin to see the effects of those. So there are causes and effects and consequences. That's a pretty good life lesson. If you do nothing but eat junk food like I did for a while, you're going to gain weight and it's going to threaten your health. So now I'm in the process of losing that weight again. And now I'm to the point in life to where I have to lose it and keep it off. So that's pretty good, right? That's not a bad life lesson. That's just off the top of my pointy little head. All right, we're here to talk about chess, not life or weight. There's nothing wrong with talking about chess and life in one video, is there? You guys want another puzzle? Let me know real quick. Let me know. I've got a lot more puzzles. I can share a lot more puzzles with you. Let me find another one in case you say yes. If you say no, it's all good. We can do these another time also. Oh, here's a good one too. Let me reset up the board real quick while you guys are trying to decide, do we tell him to shut up and let us get back to our football or whatever it is we're doing, or do we keep watching this guy? Okay, keep watching me. I might surprise you with something cool. In fact, I'm sure I will, because I've got some cool stuff here. All right. Yes. Oh, hey, Eunice Molson. Oh, okay, yeah. Clap. Sure. Okay. All right. Okay. Awesome. Well, let's do it then. Hang on. I got to wet me whistle. I think I turned my heat down. Yeah, it looks like I did. I don't want my heater to turn on and interrupt me. All right. Let's do an English opening. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this. It's been quite a few years ago, 6 or 7, 8, something like that, maybe even longer, that the Idaho State chess champion died. He was older, with the chess crown on his head. He was Idaho State chess champion for 27 years. And the only opening he ever played was the English. Nobody could beat him if he played white. Isn't that fascinating? I think after he died, someone brought it to the attention of someone at Chess Life or something like that, and they said, "You got to be kidding! That guy was state chess champion that long?" And they said, "Yeah." And so they did a little write-up on him, to honor him and all that. So here's one for the former. I'm trying to think of his name. It wasn't a difficult name. He lived across the state from me, so I never ever met him or got to know him much. I wasn't into chess when he was. I really wish I would have been. On the other hand, I never would have been Idaho State chess champion. Who knows, if I get good enough within the next 5 years, maybe I could challenge the throne. Pawn, queen, bishop 4, or c4. Now let's see what happens. Okay, pawn, king 4. Here we go with an English opening idea that might be very instructive. Typical knight comes up, and now I was looking at this knight to the queen, bishop 3, and now we're going to fianchetto, and this guy's just going to normally develop his knight. And once you bump either the G or the B pawn, you gotta fianchetto the bishop, because you've already weakened those squares. So you really do have to put the bishop there to support those squares, especially if you castle that way, right? Yeah. So, okay, bishop knight 2 and bishop knight 5. All right, let's pin the knight, although it's not yet a pin. The pawn is still in place. Notice he hasn't pushed very many central pawns. This is, again, one of those openings that we're going to attempt to control the center from a distance rather than directly put pieces and pawns in it. An entirely valid way, but don't neglect the center ever if you can help it. So we see him doing decent. Bishop knight 5. Very cool, very cool. And now he hasn't pushed his central pawn, but he does play his knight. So now the pawn is pinned, and he's not going to be able to use those very important D and E pawns. Now, this is really interesting because the knight is now going to take the knight. And he's gone. Bing, you're out of there. And the pawn will take the knight. And the knight will come to queen 5. And from this vantage point, you're saying, all right, well, wait a minute. This is getting kind of half serious. You got a bishop and a knight coming at you, and they have already crossed that middle line, and they're in my territory. That need, I personally, when I see that, I get just, you got a heads up alert. You get a little queasy. You say, all right, hold on. That's close enough. Wait, right? Pawn king 3. Hit the knight. And the knight to bishop 4. And the queen to knight 4. Nice. You win a piece. Knight or bishop. That's the power of the Queen illustrated, and that's one of the reasons why you want to, it's good in a lot of circumstances to swap queens, but just try to be cognizant of, because of the long range power of the queen in all 3 directions, forward and back, side to side, or on a diagonal. The forks of a queen can just be so fascinating. They can hit 3, 4, 5 pieces sometimes all at once, depending where you put it. Alekin's queen, they used to hit 16 pieces all at once. And I'm almost not exaggerating. That man was animal. He was manimal when it came to using his queen. So kind of a cool little gimme on that one, isn't it? You guys want another one? What the heck? Let's see. We've been going 45 minutes. Oh, okay. Right. I'll do another one for you. That's not bad. Oh, well, thank you, Eddie. That's very kind of you to say, my friend. I'm glad I got somebody to rated 2,000. Now it's my turn to get myself rated to 2,000, right? Let's see. The English. Here's another actually really cool little trap using the English opening. Let's this is still a viable opening that is used, so far as I'm aware, up into the highest levels of chess, right? So this is kind of cool. So let's take a look. Let's do one more English. And remember, these lives, you guys, they're videoed so that you can go back when you have time. You can go back and look this up and watch the entire video. I have a great game that I played, a good friend of mine, and then I've been doing these. So I'm doing a lot more of these than I expected to tonight, but why not? What a boatload of fun. Okay, so another English opening little trap here. Pawn, queen, bishop 4, and pawn, king 4. Typical, and knight, queen, bishop 3. Yep. Pure English, and knight, king, bishop 3. Here we go. Oh, and now the knight, bishop 3. Now, this is kind of interesting. Knight, bishop 3 appears to me to be pretty gutsy, although the other knight's covering the square, so not really. Okay, queen, bishop 3. Knight, king, bishop 3. Knight, bishop 3. Knight, bishop 3. It's almost a 4 knights defense, right? In fact, it is. 1, 2, 3, and now pawn, king 3. Okay, so a small push, pawn center. Oh, hey. Oh, that's awful kind. Hey, Jerry R., how are you? Thank you. All right. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that super chat. Yeah, let's do one more. I'll do even another one for you, Jerry. Yeah. Okay, so we've got the small bump push on the pawn, king 3, and now the bishop, knight 5. And this is going to be, truly, this bishop thrust. Same thing happens in the King's Indian, the Pierce, a lot of, well, the Ruy Lopez. The bishop comes as far out as it can, and it usually means there's a pin. Not yet, but it always touches that. So knight, queen 5. And now, oops, pawn, queen 3. Okay. Hints that maybe there's a problem here because, wait, I'm sorry. Bishop, knight 5. Knight to queen 5. Ooh, don't let me skip the move. Knight to queen 5 so that there is no more pin. Well, the pawn is pinned. But now the knight gets up here into the territory, right? I mean, if he's going to take this knight, the queen will have to take, and she's out somewhat early. And if she doesn't, it's going to goof up the pawn structure. So really, that's one way to draw the queen out. Oh, my gosh. Oh, hey, Flat Pat. I'm getting you into chess too. Yeah, baby. I love it. Web guy. Well, thank you. Great entertainment. Lee Strachey. Hey, welcome, everybody. Gosh, everybody's showing up. Thanks. Oh, we're just kind of enjoying some fun rambling on some traps, potential traps. These aren't just self-made up traps. These are from actual games. Some of them recur more often than others, etc. So, I mean, it's just kind of fun to know all these. So this is kind of cool to see if you haven't pushed your pawn yet. The knight's not immobile, right? So, I mean, why not put him to use? That's a good outpost. It's not a permanent outpost, but so what? Who cares? It's an outpost, and it is threatening. And the reason why this is a good move early on, so that you can clarify some things if it starts getting muddy, is you're also looking here. And that's a wicked fork if the queen disappears. So what you're doing, you see that, you'd see the meaning of that. The queen can't start coming out. This move keeps the queen home. And in some games, I'm serious, that could be vital, because then okay, that's going to help keep the queen home, so I can hurry up and get my queen out and do some damage with my queen. So that's one way of thinking. But realize something too. You make this move, they're going to attack it, especially if they understand the full implication of what you're doing, hitting the C7. But just be aware, that's the potential. This is kind of cool. So, boy, enough preaching, dude. Yeah, so knight, queen 5, okay, pawn, queen 3. Now, there's the question mark. Why is that a question mark? Because you got to be careful from here. Because now you've got queen rook 4. Pinning the knight. So now look at what white is doing as pressure, right? You're hinting that there's going to be an exchange, and that definitely affects the central squares. You're directly threatening one terrific fork that has to make you uncomfortable if you're playing black. Always, always. And this is a matter of training, and I'm talking to myself. I'm not getting preachy to you guys like you don't do it and I always do. I make this error too. But whenever you see that knight from his opening square, whenever you see him make another jump forward, no matter what square he hits, double check every square that knight can then land on, just to make sure. Because there is a reason why they're advancing the knight, right? Not just for decorative purposes, but this could have some serious venom in it. So, sorry, I know, show us the trap. I'm just building it up so that you can see the point of the logic, right? So, but now we've got stuff like this potential, and you're saying he's guarded. Not now. You see what the queen does. That is a direct attack on the bishop, but not from the queen, because the queen's holding the knight. What piece? The pawn, right? A direct attack on the bishop, and when the bishop moves, then you start coming after the knight because it's pinned. Anyway, bishop, queen, bishop, 4. He moves back. And kablam, you hit him where in the center? In the center. Now you're getting your center pawns going. Bishop to knight 3. Oh, yeah, this is very similar to the Noah's Ark trap. Bishop knight 3, and now knight takes knight check. This is an important extra move. Knight takes knight check, because what it'll do is it'll deflect the queen. See what it does? The queen moves off her square. And then you got the knight. What? Yeah, you've got the knight. Because when you pin the piece, then you try to attack it. Ideally with the pawn like this. You can attack it with any of the pieces. A rook, a bishop, another knight, whatever. But so that's the strategy here is really cool, because you do exchange, and who wants to wreck their pawn structure? So without even thinking about it, you go, oh yeah, well, I can get rid of that knight quick and develop my queen. And you forgot that, uh-oh, wait, this is pinned and he's coming in. So, and the advantage is, the really cool advantage is, you had 2 pieces in a row on the same row. That's what helps make this work, because you blink once, and see, it wouldn't matter if you took the pawn with your pawn. If you could take the pawn with the pawn, then take the pawn with the pawn, you're still hitting that knight or the bishop, and this knight covers the pawn, so you're not going to take it. So you get the bishop to move, and then you do it again. You keep attacking, and that's the fun stuff. You know, it's things like that that keep us coming back to chess, isn't it? It really is. I'm just saying. I can't help it. When you see stuff like this, you go, wow, I would have never thought something like that. That's what makes it fun. Oh, hey, Lee Starkey has a request. I tend to agree with you, my friend. Could you please do more Capablanca games? Yes, I sure will. Oh, I love it, Jerry R. Ha! A decorated knight is a powerful knight. Yes, indeed. And that's a decorated knight that's going to the grave. But he at least is going to get buried in his armor, right? Yeah, I mean, that's worse than it looks. Because once you take, and once he takes, of course, then I did 2 moves with white. Realistically, black would have went there first, right? But I'm kind of cheating just to show you the real effect in case black didn't make that move. Now you got this wicked fork on the rook and the king. So, see, you can't save the rook. In fact, you get both rooks. Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. You would take the rook. However, now let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, you wouldn't put your queen there. You're down 2 pieces. You can't put your queen there. No, you'd have to move. And then all kinds of shenanigan disasters can happen if you're bumping this pawn and he's not paying attention and he's thinking, uh-oh, well, no, that's the right move. Because that next bishop fork is absolutely wickedly vicious. So yeah, the 8-6 would prevent that. Anyway, yeah, now I'm rambling. So Jonas says, at a point, I didn't understand why bishop go back for first time. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. And I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, Jonas. Jonas? Either way, I don't mean any disrespect. Anyway, look it over, and then we'll examine it. So, hey, I've been going an hour, you guys. That's probably good enough for a what is it, a Monday night live? Yeah, Monday night live session with you guys. How much fun has this been? I love it. So I'm sorry I did the impromptu, but I was going to make a video recording of Jonathan and I's game, and then I said, "Hey, why not do a live?" I had so much fun with my live, and I'm having as much fun with this one because I so enjoy interacting with my audience, right, and talking with you and sharing ideas. So, anyway, all right. Look, I'm going to head out. I've had a big day at work, a good day at work, but I do need to go to bed early tonight because I do have snow in the morning, and I maintain the sidewalks and the parking lots of the various branches, and so I've got to have my rest. So I'm going to go relax for just a little bit. Oh, Brandon Mansfield, welcome, my friend. Yeah, it's good to meet you too. Oh, oh, wow. Thank you. That's very kind. Well, I've got a whole lot more to do now as well. So, wow, that's been a while. Oh, thank you, Ron. Yay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm attempting, I'm hoping I'll get a schedule going here where I can do a Saturday live, a Saturday night live. Oh, my. Anyway, I have done a couple of Saturday lives, and I have some friends who really enjoy those, and I'll try to. Now, I am mountain time in the United States. So when I say, if I schedule a Saturday morning live, 10 o'clock my time or 11 o'clock my time, understand that's mountain time in the US, and then you can calculate what time it is for you guys, wherever you are. Yesterday's live, I had folks from Argentina and Norway and not India, but I mean, there were like 5 or 6 there. It was awesome, man. It was a lot of fun. Great fun. So, anyway, thanks, you guys. Appreciate all your support and love and excitement. And let's just kind of have some fun with chess. And we'll do more of these. I'll do more lives, and I'll do more recordings as well. And I'll keep showing you games, both wins and losses, because we're all just basically trying to build our chess upward, right? And in order to get good at it, I'm just so not kidding. I wish it was different, but you have to lose thousands of games. So it's really stupid just to show you all my wins and crow about it, because actually the losses are probably more valuable to us than the wins in ways that the wins can't possibly be valuable in comparison. So I'm going to show you both, a little bit of both. So, all right. Absolutely. My good pleasure. Truly, truly. No, I appreciate you guys. I will catch you next time. And be sure and hit the subscribe button and the like button, if you would, please. And hit that little bell notification button. That will let you know when I come on live or when another video is uploaded, stuff like that, so that you can keep in contact. So, all right, you guys, have a good evening or morning, depending where you're at. Thanks, appreciate all of you. I will be back, as Johann Sebastian said to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He said, "No, I'll be back." There's a dumb dad joke in there somewhere.